Okay, I'm going to continue the presentation on important passages from Act 1 of Death of a Salesman. And I just want you to know that I'm going through them very quickly. There's so much more to say. I could really talk about this for quite a while. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so this is part 2. And I left off talking about Willie, who was describing Bernard, and he felt that Bernard was very nerdy and then would not be a success in life. And I was saying that Willie is truly concerned with the outward appearance when he says, because the man who makes an appearance in the business world, the man who creates personal interest, if you can get people to like you, then you will be successful. And, it's easy to say, oh, he's wrong. But if you look at our society, a lot of our society is built on the cult of celebrity, of people following people on Facebook and Twitter because they've become kind of celebrities. They don't even have to have done very much. Um, that is redeeming in society, and they have hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, following them. So, what Willie is saying here is probably even more true today than it was when he um, said it in 1949 when the play first opened. Uh, that he says, "Be liked and you'll never want." Now, we're really supposed to question that. Is it true that if people like me, I'll never want for anything? I'll always have what I need. I'll always be able to get a job and make money. Some people say yes, some people say no. That's a topic that we're going to hopefully have an opportunity to debate. Take me, for instance. I never have to wait in line for a buyer. Willie Loman is here. That's all they have to know, and I go right through to the buyers. Well, this is probably the most telling part of this passage because soon we're going to find out this is not true. When Willie goes to work, the doors don't actually open wide for him and everybody welcomes him in. This is a fantasy image of himself that he's creating for his sons because this is part of a flashback on page 33. And Willie, when the boys were young, fill their heads with this iconic image of himself where he was beloved by everyone he met and he was able to make a lot of money and be very admired. But in those same flashbacks, when Willie is talking to Linda, he says the exact opposite. So not only does he contradict himself in the present, he contradicted himself when he was in the past. The other thing I want you to know is that when Willie is saying all these things, it's 1949. The flashbacks are at least 15 years earlier. So we're talking about the mid 1930s. And we were steeped in the depression during the mid 1930s. It was hard for anybody to make a living during that time. So when Willie is talking about what a great salesman he was, we really are supposed to question it because it was hard for everybody to make a living. How come he was so successful? And then we realize that we've stumbled into the theme of illusion versus reality. Willie has created an illusion for his boys that eventually is going to bump in to the reality of life. The woman says to Willie, "I'll put you right through to the buyers." And this is very soon after the previous quote. And we're supposed to have a flashing red light when we hear, "I'll put you right through to the buyers," because even though it's a simple one liner, it means so much. We are supposed to question, does Willie uh, have this relationship for a romantic reason? Does he have this relationship for an economic reason? Is Willie having an affair with this woman in the flashback because he needs to have someone who's going to let him have access to the buyers when he gets there? Is this the only way that he can get in to see the buyers is to sleep with the secretary and be friends with the secretary? Uh, and so we wonder, Willie is a salesman. He's selling a product, but is in a sense he also selling himself? Is he prostituting himself in order to make a living? We're really supposed to stop for a moment and hear those words. So I'm going to let you think about it. What's going on there for Willie emotionally, psychologically, and economically in that line? Willie says, and a lot of these quotes you'll notice are from Willie because he has the most poignant quotes in the book. You'll retire me for life on 70 goddamn dollars a week and your women and your car and your apartment, and you'll retire me for life? Christ's sakes, I can't get past Yonkers today. Where are you guys? Where are you? The woods are burning. I can't drive a car. So Willie is thinking about that. He wants to retire. He needs to retire. Happy has just said that he's going to help him. And Willie's like, you can't help me because you don't make enough money. You only make $70 a week. How are you going to pay for your apartment and your car and help me during my retirement? So Willie acknowledges that, Happy's making enough money to take care of himself, but he's not making enough money to take care of anybody else. And it's something for us to think about as we get older. We're not only responsible for taking care of ourselves, you'll have children to take care of, you'll have parents to take care of. And whatever paycheck you bring home has to go in many different directions. You should sit down and talk to your parents about it one day. And then um, he says later on, Christ's sakes, I couldn't get past Yonkers today. Where are you guys? The woods are burning. I can't drive a car. When he says the woods are burning, that is danger, 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 danger. He knows that he can't continue on this um, with this situation much longer. He can't just keep doing what he's doing, and something's going to happen. So when he says the woods are burning, he's calling out to his sons for help. And the question is, will any help come? The last thing I want to say about this particular slide is that there are many, many references to God or Christ in the play. Most of them, however, are profane. They are taking the Lord's name in vain. So when he talks about God, it's not like he's a man of prayer who looks to a higher power for his guidance. God is somehow off to the side and only referenced when he's truly frustrated. So there are people who might want to look at the religious aspect of the play or the non-religious, the absence of religion in the play. Willie says, a man who can't handle tools is not a man. You're disgusting. And he says this to Charlie, who is his only friend in this play. And he talks to him in a very demeaning manner, questions his manhood. And this line functions on many levels. Can How can you sustain a relationship with someone who has no respect for you? And we wonder what Charlie gets out of the relationship with Willie. And then we see that Willie may need to belittle Charlie in order to feel good about himself. He may need to take Charlie down a peg or two because Charlie really, on the face of it, is much more successful. He owns his own business. He has a secretary. He can afford to give Willie $50 a week um, without necessarily ever getting paid back. And he's a mensch. He's a wonderful guy to Willie. But the question is, what does each man get out of this relationship? And why would you put up with someone who refers to you as disgusting if you don't have to? Ben says, patting Biff's knee, never fight fair with a stranger, boy. You'll never get out of the jungle that way. And this is from a flashback when Ben came to visit, and this is Ben's life's motto, and we're supposed to question everything about Ben once we hear this, because Ben went to Africa and came out rich. He came out rich because of diamonds, and we wonder how somebody with no background, no skill, ends up um, a millionaire because of diamonds. And how did he actually make his money? Apparently, it wasn't through honesty and integrity, because he was in a land full of strangers, and he says never fight fair with a stranger. The word jungle also becomes a metaphor for society itself. How do you survive in society? You never fight fair. So society is the jungle, not just where he was in Africa. Willie says longingly, "Can't you stay a few days? You're just what I need, Ben, because I have a fine position here, but well, Dad left when I was such a baby, and I never had a chance to talk to him, and I still feel kind of temporary about myself." This is such a poignant passage because Willie is admitting that he is lost. For a man who I guess at this time would have been in his mid 40s, to say that I feel temporary about myself. He's unsure of himself, unsure of his manhood, unsure of his ability to raise his boys in the right way. And he's looking to his big brother, who seems to have all the answers. And his big brother doesn't really give him anything tangible to hold on to. So for Willie to admit his imperfection to his brother, I think, is a very telling item, and it makes us compassionate towards him if we read it right. It's a type of pathos that is in the book, because the author doesn't want us to stand afar and see Willie. He wants us to get close to Willie, to really try to understand who this man is. Whatever happened to that diamond watch fob? Willie says whatever happened to the diamond watch fob, because it seems like it was probably one of the few valuables that he ever had. He got it from his brother because his brother had the diamond mines, and he pawns it. He sells it so that Biff can have an opportunity to be successful. And it seems like that opportunity faded away. The watch fob is gone. He has nothing left to show for it. And it's going to be kind of, um, I don't want to say motif, but an element that runs um, through the subtext, as part of the subtext of the play, that everything that he's invested in Biff, he has nothing to show for it. And Charlie will talk about that later on. Biff says to Linda, "Stop making excuses for him. He always wiped the floor with you, never had an ounce of respect for you." And Biff is confronting Linda about the fact that she's always sticking up for Willie, even when she knows that he's wrong. And she's going to make the speech that says, she knows that he's not perfect. She wasn't expecting him to be perfect. And she still has a great deal of compassion for him. And she wants her sons to have compassion for their father. So when Biff is trying to tell her that you should stand up for yourself, you shouldn't let him, wipe the floor with you or treat you without respect, she's already thought all that through, and she's decided what's important to her. For those who are looking at the feminist perspective, this is a great passage to talk about in terms of the feminist perspective of the play. I see that my time is running out, so I'm probably going to stop with this slide and continue with part 3 of my discussion on Death of a Salesman. So I hope this is a help to you. There's so much more. Go back, look at the different passages. You'll be able to find even more things to talk about and to put in your double entry journal. Okay?